Hi, I'm Tim Buckley. I'm a Red Seal chef, teacher, and a connoisseur of fine condiments. I love to cook since I was a kid, and I worked as a chef de partie, sous chef, executive chef in the hotel industry for over 20 years. When I was asked to become a teacher, I jumped at the chance and have been teaching hospitality and tourism for the past 23 years. I first met Dot Worovitz, aka Saucy Dotty, 5 years ago and instantly fell in love with original sauce. Since then, she's created a range of amazing sauces, some sweet, some hot, some a little of both. I'm going to give you some recipes and show you how you can use Saucy Dotty's in so many delicious ways. I've cooked for my friends, my family, my customers, my students, celebrities, prime ministers, and even royalty. And now I'm going to cook for you. Let's go. Okay, now we're going to make some wonton filling for our wonton soup using Saucy Dotty's Heat. Saucy Heat, a wonderful sauce. This would be perfect for wonton soup. So we're going to start with 1 pound of freshly ground, very finely ground pork. And then we have 6 minced green onions. That's going to be a lot of flavor in there. And we have 1 can of drained water chestnuts, very finely minced. Okay. And now for the best part of this, the Saucy Dotty's Saucy Heat. So instead of using hoisin sauce or soy sauce, this is a great substitute. It's got all the flavors you want, right in one jar or 1 bottle. We're going to mix this up, and we're going to let this sit in the fridge for at least 4 hours, and that'll allow the flavors to really unite and permeate. It's going to be beautiful. And then we're going to make wonton soup. Oh, that smells so good. Yeah. See, with this particular sauce, you don't have to add ginger or cinnamon or any other spices like that, ginger, because it's all the flavors right in there. I almost forgot, if you really like a little bit of a sting to it, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. Beautiful. Even better. And now we're going to fill some wontons for our wonton soup. And there's nothing wrong with buying pre-made wonton wraps. And to show you how easy this is. It's very important you get a good amount of water on the edges, because that'll mix with the flour and make them stick together so they don't open up in your soup. And you don't have to be too particular about how you fold them. People like to do them different ways, so I'll just show you a couple of different ways we can do this. Make sure you get all the edges so it sticks. Simply use your fingers like this. Nothing wrong with that. I prefer a brush. Okay. And then we're going to have about a teaspoon of the mixture that we made earlier, right in the center. You want to make sure it doesn't go to the edge, otherwise you won't be able to get a good seal on it. So right in the center like that. So about a teaspoon, you don't have to be too exact, because you don't want it to be too full, otherwise it'll explode on you. Okay, what you do is you're going to fold the corner to corner and push that down, and you're going to take it and you're going to crimp it and fold around like that and pinch it really well, and that's going to stay together quite nicely. If you've got too much in there, you can take some out. Okay. And make sure you push all the air out of it. And again, you're just going to crimp that, make sure all your edges are nice and tight. And then we're actually going to cook these for 6 minutes in boiling salt water, and then we're going to make our soup. Get that really good squeeze in there. And that is all there is to making wontons. You don't have to make them this shape. You can make different shapes if you want. Just fold them over and pinch them if you like. But as long as the seals are there, that will not open up in your soup. Okay, now we're going to put our prepared wontons into some boiling salt water and let them boil for 6 minutes. This is going to be good. And don't overload the pot. Like with any pasta, you want to have plenty of boiling water. And now we're going to make our Cantonese barbecued pork tenderloin for our wonton soup. And what I'm using is Saucy Dott's Sweet, a couple of tablespoons of sherry, and we're going to coat that really well. And we're going to put that in the fridge for 4 hours and let the flavors all develop. And 2 ways to cook this when it comes out. We can either barbecue it, or we can pan fry it and finish it off in the oven. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to slice it nice and thin. And this is a beautifully trimmed pork tenderloin. It's going to be good. Okay, now we're going to finish off our Cantonese barbecued pork with a few shots of Dots. You can either do this on your barbecue on a nice day, or I'm going to show you what you can do it in the oven. So we have our pork tenderloin we marinated yesterday. We're with at least 4 hours, and then I'm just going to pat that a little bit dry. So 4 hours at least, and then turn it every hour. That's smelling really good. Okay, so the oven is preheated at 325. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Let that heat up a little bit. And the way you can tell if your pan is hot, start up here, and you can feel the heat. Don't go any closer to the pan than that. And that way you know your frying pan's hot enough. If it's not hot enough, the meat's just going to sit there and simmer. So you want to get a good brown on this. So I'm using an induction burner right now, but you can do this, like I said, on a barbecue or a frying pan on the stove. So make sure that's good and hot. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put on a prepared tray. A little bit of cooking spray here. That way it won't stick. Because the pork is very sticky because of the marinade. Alright, I think we're good here. We'll put this little drop in there. Yep, we're ready. Okay. So we patted that dry. And you should hear that nice sizzle. If your pan is hot enough, you hear a lovely sizzle like that. Okay, so we've browned this for about 8 minutes, 10 minutes. So it's nice and brown on all sides. And that'll keep the juices sealed in. You have to make sure all the way around it has to be nice and brown like that, all caramelized. And then we're going to put it on the prepared pan here. And we're going to put this in the oven for about 15 minutes. We'll check it with a thermometer, make sure it's 165 degrees for pork. And we can use this, like I said, for stir fries, fried rice, on its own, or whatever you like. Okay, so we're going to pop this in the oven. And then we're going to do something else in a minute. So I always say oven door. Casey's little kids around. There we go. Okay. We'll check that after about 15 minutes. And of course we have to have a little sample when it comes out. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. And we're going to let that rest for about 10 or 15 minutes. If we slice it when it's really hot, some of the juices will run all over the place and it won't be quite as moist. So we let this sit for about 10 minutes and then we're going to slice it and we're going to finish off our wonton soup. See how the pork is beautifully caramelized there? And it's all nicely sealed in, so like I mentioned, all the juices are going to be inside there. And that marinade is just going to make this phenomenal. Okay, now that we've let the pork rest, we're going to slice the pork. I have some chicken stock on the stove. I just brought it to a boil. That's ready to go. So let's finish off our soup here. So if you look at this very carefully, there's grains running along here. You want to cut across the grain, and that will make a much more tender piece of meat. If you cut with the grain, it'll be a little bit chewy. So you want to cut this fairly thin. Good sharp knife is always helpful. And then we're going to put our soup together here. I want to fan that a little bit, see how nice and pink that is. There, look at that, it's perfectly cooked. Here's our sliced pork, really beautiful. Smells good, very tender. We'll put some pork in the bottom of the bowl. And then our cooked wontons. These are still hot from the stove. Put as many as you like in. I'm going to put 6 in each bowl. I think that's a good portion. If you really like it, you can always put 10 or 12 or 14 or 20. Okay. And then we have our hot soup stock here. I use chicken. You can use beef if you like, if you prefer. And just enough to cover the wontons. Always add a little bit more if you like a little extra broth in there. Okay, to finish it off, we have some nice green onions here. And there is our Saucy Dottys wonton soup. lunchtime.